Well, good morning, Rowan.
How are you?
Fine. I just want to say thank you for coming today. The Rotary Club of Sun Lakes, Arizona, on the 22nd of December is going to have this. It's going to be great.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. I'd shake your hand, but you know we're
You
both got a cold. So
you got a cold.
yeah, the 22nd of December, 2014. I'm David Bork. This is Rowin Floth. Rowin came into Rotary on February of '97.
Correct.
And we'll have a birthday on the 29th of this month, and I won't say how many.
That's a good thing.
But we share the same month. So we have a few questions to ask, Rowan. And the theory is we're going to ask you a few questions, and hopefully you can tell me some good things. So, you are not a charter member. Can you tell the camera and those out here in the World Wide Web how you became a Sun Lakes Rotarian, and how long have you been in Sun Lakes as of the date of this discussion?
Paul and I moved to Sun Lakes, it'll be 19 years ago this spring. And I had been a Rotarian in Omaha, Nebraska. And when we came down here, there was a neighbor that was a member, and I hate to say that I can't recall his name offhand because he wasn't a member much long after I joined. But anyway, he invited me to attend the club, and I did. And in those days, the club was meeting in Cottonwood, and that's when I became a member.
Is that in Cottonwood? Is that right?
Uh-huh.
So we've met in Cottonwood and Sun Lakes 1, and now here in Oakwood. Huh?
That's right.
Wow. There are a number of opportunities for service that we have in the club. Can you tell us how you are able to meet the challenges of life and still be involved in the Sun Lakes Rotary projects?
Well, I think that for me, my most recent career before coming, well, during the time that we've been in Sun Lakes, I worked for an international charity called World Vision. And really, I would say the main objective at World Vision, at least in the area that I worked in, was helping people. And helping people in some very, very challenging places to live, like Sub-Saharan Africa, Central America, places like that. So really the club is, in my view, Rotary is about helping people help themselves. And so just kind of an extension of doing that, so it really wasn't that big of a separation between job and the Rotary Club.
Have you been involved in a lot of the Sun Lakes Rotary activities over the years?
I've been involved in quite a few. I would say that the first one that I would mention is that in the year 2000, the Sun Lakes Rotary Club started or formed the Sun Lakes Rotary Foundation 2000. And I was a member of the board back at that time of directors for that foundation and have been on that board for a number of years since it was originally formed. One of the things that I've been involved in is that my good buddy Frank Wiley invited me to become a newspaper distributor, which I had done when I was a kid growing up in North Dakota. And so Frank and I pick up the Splash together, and we fold them and we distribute them.
Have a little wine once in a while?
There have been occasions where we've had a little bit of wine along the route.
Yeah.
And I've been involved quite a bit with pancake breakfast. I've been flipping pancakes for a number of years.
Oh, you do that, huh?
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay.
I would say that those are probably the major things that I've been involved in.
You're back on the board now. I know when I went on the board, 2005 or so, I gave you this gorgeous plaque, and I thought you'd retire, and I thought I'd stay on, and pretty soon I'm off, and you're back on. So now these years later, so it's an interesting way, and I think the club has a great asset in you and in the foundation.
Well, I appreciate you saying that.
If you were an officer, but no, you've never been an officer of the club, have you?
No.
But the foundation president that pretty much gets involved in all the club activities.
It does.
Yeah, it does. That's very cool. Very cool. Do you have some thoughts as to what may be your greatest accomplishment as the tenure in the foundation? I like the answer. It's coming. Uh-huh.
Well, I think that.
The launch and growth of the permanent
Well, I
fund.
think that, I would have to say that that's really been an important thing for Rotary as it relates to me. Um, I think when we first started the foundation, it was new to the club. And essentially what it did, it promoted charitable giving
Right.
within our club and within the community. And within that whole organization of the foundation, the thing that I think that I have had probably the greatest input on, along with some of the other members of the board, has been the permanent fund. We call it the Legacy Fund.
Right.
And that really creates a lot of stability for the Sun Lakes Rotary Club, but it also, I think, provides a way for our club members to establish their legacy. And what I mean by that is that, it's one thing to tell your kids, that you've been a Rotarian, and if my kids go to the YouTube, I guess they can look this up.
Right.
Hear dear old dad talking about Rotary. But it's another thing to say to your family, these are the things that were important during my life. And so now that I've passed and you are reading through my trust or my will, you will see that I am making special provisions within that trust for the things that meant the most to me during my lifetime. And most people, it's their family, it's their love, their children that they loved and raised. But I think that what we're trying to do within our foundation is to encourage people to leave a legacy to what else was important to you, such as maybe the hospital in your community or the Performing Arts Center. We also think the people that have been Rotarians some of our club members have been Rotarians for decades.
Yes.
And have tossed those papers for decades and have distributed dictionary books, that should be a part of their legacy as well. So that's kind of our message to the club.
That's a wonderful way to say it.
Yeah.
It really is.
Probably a long way to say it.
As a Sun Lakes Rotarian for almost 20-some years, what do you think of the club? Can you describe the club in your own words and what you think about the Rotary Club when you come in here?
I think it's a place that's very upbeat. When I think about coming to Rotary Club meetings early on a Tuesday morning, this time of the year it's kind of dark outside. When you walk inside, it's bright, it's cheerful, people are greeting each other, there's some laughter, there's quite a bit of business that takes place, and it's great to be there with friends, and I particularly enjoy, I think, for me anyway, I really enjoy the times when we recognize teachers in our community. That's always been a favorite part of our club and activity, and also when we recognize kids for things that they do that are meaningful for our community.
I couldn't have said it any better, and I think that's wonderful. In a few words, can you describe how Rotary here in Sun Lakes has changed your life?
Well, I would think that, as I mentioned, the work that I had done before when I'm called retired, I guess, and my idea of retirement today is different than it was 20 years ago, but I was really involved in a lot of work that was international in scope. And I think that the needs of the people within our own community, while they aren't as perhaps as physical, like kids that are trying to find water in Rwanda or something like that, but they need help. So I think that the Sun Lakes Rotary Club, at least in my case, and what I've taken out of it is more community-minded, and some of the stuff that I've been involved in tends to be a little bit more focused within our own community.
What continues to attract you to this club?
Well, I'd have to say that probably the thing that attracts me to this club more than anything else, and most of my friends are Rotarians, and I don't go out and select friends by are you a member of Rotary or not, but it just seems like the people that I tend to associate with and call my friends just happen to be Rotarians.
That's because of the common values, is it not, between
Well, I think it
Rotarians?
is. I think it's other people that kind of think like you. I think I've been lucky. Certainly had nothing to do with the fact that I was born a white male in America. But what a great opportunity that was. I had nothing to do with it. And a lot of us are in that situation. And I think that we have a responsibility to give back.
Amen.
And I think this club is certainly one way to approach doing that.
What can you tell prospective members and those who are able to see this in the future about maintaining your club membership? And you've been a member of this club since 1997. Wow. And if you were to tell some, hopefully, friend in the near future about what it is that brings you, and what you could tell him about Rotary in this club as a prospective member, what would you tell him?
Well, I think there's some general things. It's kind of interesting to watch our club evolve. And I've seen it evolve in a couple ways. It's interesting for me to see women become more involved in Sun Lakes Rotary. Mm. And I see them becoming involved not just as people coming to, our club to have a nice breakfast and shake people's hands and let them know what you do business-wise. But, Marge Wright is midway through her year as president of our club. The next president of our club is going to be a woman. So I see women taking really important roles of leadership within our club. I think that's a good thing. I think the other thing that I see is that, you look at some of the founding fathers, I suppose, guys have been around and gals have been around for a long, long time within the Sun Lakes Rotary Club. And, you kind of ask yourself, well, we all get to a point where we don't do or can't do as much for the club. So what's going to happen to this club? And I've seen other clubs, I think, within our own district that have sort of died off, if you will, because there hasn't been that person to step up. And I look at guys like Chuck Lowe, or Charles Lowe, who, puts on some of the greatest programs that I find incredibly interesting. He's just done a phenomenal job. And guys like Bill McCoach, who's, barely a new member, and he's deeply involved with a lot of things that are important to the whole Rotary. So there's a whole growth and people stepping up and continuing this legacy, if you will, of the Sun Lakes Rotary Club.
We have talent here, no question. Last and final. 10 years from now, 2024, someone might look at this and say, that's the legacy that Rowin left. What is that person's going to say? What is your legacy that you're going to leave in this club?
Well, it's certainly not going to be the fact that I was a really good golfer. But
you don't choose pool, though.
No, I just hope it's
Certainly it's the foundation, no question. It's the
Well, I
foundation
think
as
it's
part of your
foundation,
legacy.
but I think of a guy. I'm not going to mention his name, but I remember somebody that needed some help, and I mean, just nobody would know this person in our community. I've known this person for many, many years, and I went to a Rotarian and a friend of mine. And I said, "Can you help? Can you help this person out?" And he says, "What do you need?" It wasn't like, "Let me think about it." It wasn't, anything like that. So I would hope that my legacy might be similar to that. It's sort of like you don't need to have a plaque made up because you helped somebody. It'd be, gee, there was a person that cared about other people in the club, in the community, and just trying to give somebody a hand up. So that would be the main thing.
I think we're fortunate to have a Rotarian like you in our club, Rowin. And final words for the camera?
Well, I'm going to say something to you, David. I appreciate what you do in this club, and I think very typical of you is when I was looking for the perfect person to deliver the invocation when I was in charge of our Veterans Day program, and it was like the similar call that I was just talking about. Can you help me out? What do you need? And sure, and not only were you there, but you were the first one there over at the memorial, and it was colder than heck.
It was.
And but now you're involved in this, and so I appreciate you and the other people in our club that do make it a better place for everybody else. So.
Well, thank you very much. Very, very much. I appreciate that. And a very Merry Christmas and
Yeah, Merry Christmas.
a prosperous and Happy New Year for next year, 2015.
All right.